Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dgenz Crypto Daily, episode 12. I'm your host, Chart, and welcome to September. This is kind of like what we expected with September. We were warning everyone that there's a chance of September being very bearish, especially how we talked about the markets being very weak on the weekly and somewhat bearish on the monthly scale. So we're going to discuss that. First and foremost, if you had a chance to follow me on Twitter, please do so now. It will help us move the needle forward for everyone that's involved, including the content we provide every single day. And if you haven't had a chance to follow our NFT project, our Dgenz NFT projects right there, give us a follow and take a ride with us on this crypto journey, because you never know what around the corner comes around. So we discussed this month's issue of the weekly close being very bearish. We talked about the fact that this candle sucked, like really, really sucked. We saw a previous candle like that. Really big candles with big bodies are really terrible for the market. So when you see candles like that, they're not great, especially because you want them to be smaller than the previous candle, which is a bullish candle, but it closed way bigger than expected. So we see that momentum is on the bear side, and I think we have to stay cautious. So I talked about the fact that even with the bullish move yesterday, I wasn't convinced that we were going to do anything special, just because there is a lot of pinching going on here. So that tells me that it's going to be a very strong resistance. And this candle is kind of printing a bearish candle, even though we're bullish a little bit. It's probably going to print a candle that might take a few weeks to resolve. So you can probably have a candle that's small bearish, another bigger bearish, and then touch down around 48,000. So I think it's not too bearish at the moment, but I still think that we will have to tread water, hope to have a crab trading season, meaning we trade sideways for the rest of the month in order to reset all our technicals. Like, we have this technical we talk about, which is a MACD, right? We really want this momentum bar to go smaller. We want it that way. And obviously this needs to start pinching like it did over here. Once we have that pinch, we can say we're finally at a reversal, but it doesn't look like it right now. So it might take a few weeks to get through that. I'm thinking like the start of October. If you heard my stream yesterday, I talked about the fact that there's a few things that are on the horizon that we have to look forward to, at least. The FOMC meeting, right? It's going to be most likely talking about rate cuts for the U.S. markets, which means holding dollar is going to be much less advantageous, and it's going to be easier for you to gain U.S. dollars to purchase assets, right? And so it's actually a bullish thing when they lower the rates. The other thing is, and I remember saying this yesterday, and let's see if it happens. I'm intrigued by this. Is that CZ, the former CEO of Binance, gets released, I believe, on the 29th of September. And so let's see if that moment actually starts the bull run, right? Because it just needs some positivity, right, in the marketplace right now. And so maybe this is what happens. The rate cuts happen, right? September 10th, I believe, is the first debate that could go either way. And then we have the 29th being most likely a very bullish moment for crypto so far. So looking at Bitcoin right now, again, looks terrible. I don't think we're gonna start to see like a full bear cycle, right? Meaning like going straight past here and going into this area again. I mean, that would take us another few years, right? I think what happens really is we stay within this range here until that October moment, and then we start to move up. We create this inverted head and shoulders, like I just created here for you guys. So these lines right here are gonna keep. So what I'm talking about is, 48 will be 40 once, twice, and then we go into number 3, number 4, number 5. And that would take us to about 115,000. Maybe we get to 120,000. I don't know why people think that we're going to get to 300,000 by either at the end of this year or even the next cycle. Because to do that, right, we have to really look at the structures of like the trading between, I guess, 2018 and now, right? Because, we have these high spots, right? Most likely here. And for us to be at 300,000, we're looking at like price action to be up here. It's too soon for that price action, right? I'm finding out that Bitcoin is having smaller and smaller multiples as we move forward in time. And because of that, we have to expect things to slow down in terms of getting higher and higher. So that's why I think 120 is probably going to be it. And then we teeter this way and then come down, touch down somewhere around there, back to like 50, or maybe about 30,000. We're going to look at this area as the next bottom. Okay, so maybe like 31, 32,000. And then from there, we go back to looking at the structure again. You go, all right, maybe we'll get to 130, 300,000 by 2030. Because I don't know, this period of time after this bull run, it's going to be a fairly long bear market. Because I think institutions right now want the cheapest possible tokens, right? Like think about the idea of amassing wealth. The only way to amass wealth is if you buy things cheaply, right? And then sell them at the highest point of the next run, whatever that is. It could be real estate, it could be vintage cars, could be anything. So when we're talking about like coins in general, I think it's good to think about it from that perspective. So the next bear market is going to be probably long. And so you got to be certain, absolutely certain that your investments are going to hold value and they're going to make it to the end of the next bear market. So you want to be holding only like the top dogs, right? Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin for now. You might be able to do some other ones as well, but I personally would not recommend it. Maybe we get Polkadot to hold ground. I don't know, but it's at $4.20 today, so it's not really doing anything great. So we got to keep an eye on when we get to this level here, because it does point to tops from back in 2021. Okay, so I think anything in that area, so anything in the upper area of, let me go right here, is where we should be selling. That really means focusing on when the dominance chart. So when BTC.D is actually down here at the bottom. Okay. Now, if somehow this goes up here, then that changes the whole structure of everything we've ever had. Because so far we've been consistent with how everything is set up, right? So for right now, we have this giant fractal that started back here, and it keeps going, right? That's the big fractal we have. So normally we have, 2 resistances and 2 supports at minimum within a fractal, and then we get either the third resistance or third support. So this will be, 1, 2, 1, and I think 2. Okay, that's why I think we have to touch back at the 40% level to just double check if this is going to be the support. If it is, then for sure we'll have the breakout here, which basically means all alts are going to be dead, frankly, because there is no way to save them if the dominance of Bitcoin goes up to that point. Like I remember back in 2015, we only had a few coins, and Bitcoin was basically it. And so it was really, really hard to knock off that dominance, right? When there's only so few coins around. So now that we have lots of coins into play, right? Normally we expect Bitcoin dominance to go down as more coins enter the market, right? Because they're all taking a share of the whole crypto market cap. And so as everything starts to grow, the dominance should be falling for Bitcoin, right? Always falling for Bitcoin. And now if it doesn't, and it's going the opposite way, if it's actually going up with that many tokens in circulation, that means there's no liquidity anymore for all the other assets, which is scary to say, because that means, we need to really start focusing on what projects are worth buying into and investing into. So again, we really don't want this to be going up, right? We really want them to go down. Okay. In looking at total 3, right? We mentioned this many times already. That is the market cap of all altcoins. That it doesn't include Ethereum. Okay, and it has a similar chart to Bitcoin when you look at it, right? Pretty similar. Looking at, there's a crossover there, and so the price action is going south of that. We still have very healthy EMAs. So these are the EMAs we look at. That's the 200 right here, and the 365, the weekly. Normally they serve as very good resistance or support spots. So if you look at from another angle, like right here, the 200 EMA was very good here. Didn't hold the breakout, right? Most likely what happens is we tap it in the future. So here we're getting closer and closer to that level. So basically what happens is, we break out and we got a test, and that's strong, and then we keep going. And if it doesn't prove to be a good resistance, turn support, then it falls through. So it'll go like this, and it falls through, and then it confirms, goes down. Okay. So these are the kinds of things we're looking for when we're trying to analyze the market, especially for total 3, to see whether or not we'll get some kind of altcoin action sooner than later. And I think we will. I think we'll confirm this probably in September. I think this month we confirm it and then go from there. Right? Because I actually thought, this being the neckline, this was going to be a nice breakout to here, and then we continue on. But I guess timing of the market is not very good. And so we probably have to quickly come down here, confirm that blue line, and then go back up. Every market is dynamic, and so we have to adjust our analysis. We can't be so focused on one narrative all the time. We have to make sure we understand what's happening in front of us. So it's the fun part about assessing markets as well. So that's total 3 chart. Let's see how that pans out in September. The tether dominance, right? So reviewing it, we really want tether dominance to be falling. So at some point we want a rejection, and then down here into the bull run. Okay. Ideally, we want it really down to 2%. Why 2%? Because if we make the chart a little bit shorter, we see a lot of action here, right? And then some action here. So those areas will be tested. So first test was this area, right in here. So this right here was tested, and it served to be a support, right? So we went up, and then I think now we test this area right here. which again, this is why I marked it at 2%. So that's going to be our bull run. After that, I have no idea. Like I said, I don't know what happens moving forward with some of these asset classes, because once institutions take hold of them, there will be a lot of manipulating. Like a lot of manipulating. So a lot of us that are trading crypto might have to start to think about using other methods to beat the market. Everyone has their own way of doing it. We talked about it on our weekly spaces, how we can kind of mitigate some of the waiting that happens throughout these bear markets. You can stake your assets, you can earn some yield, you can throw some assets into a liquidity pool and basically play them off of each other. You can even learn how to leverage trade, and you can sell the market when it's going down. Right? There's many ways to do it. I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but yeah, there's many ways to do it. So this chart itself, we need it to fall down at some point. So we're waiting for that to happen. Like I mentioned in the last stream, we have this inverted head and shoulders pattern happening right now. Right? We want this line right here to serve as a resistance. So we might still get a little bit of push forward to that 6.28, 6.3% dominance. And then we're going to get some help. Now, I don't know how this is going to take shape. Maybe we have some small action here and then drop, or we actually have the full try for the right shoulder. But we really don't want to get into this territory here. If that we get up to here, that means we've gone to create a bigger head, inverted head and shoulders. So, for example, if we look at this from a larger angle, we have this as a massive left shoulder. This could be a massive head, and then we have a massive right shoulder. Okay, we really don't want to get up to the neckline up here, because that's bad. So again, we really want to reject at these levels and then hopefully come down, right? We're going to test this EMA, maybe go up a little bit and then into the bull run. That's what I'm expecting. But we'll keep tracking it, see if it works out. Maybe crypto gods will be on our side. During February, I'm sure they're going to try to shake us out in a way that they'll post some articles how there will be, I don't know, some ban on some token or some blockchain or some NFT space or whatever. Don't let them rattle you, right? This is why they're trying to do these things, so they can get a cheaper option to buy into. So when I see articles talking about some FUD happening out of China or Russia or the US, just ignore it. Honestly, just ignore it. If it doesn't affect you directly, just ignore it. Let me just double check Twitter for a second for you guys. Yeah. There was an article today about let me see here. There was an article today about there's some possible cyber attack from North Korea. Yeah, things like this, just they can't phase you because it's not directly connected to you. How are they going to steal U.S. crypto? First of all, every single person should have a ledger. You keep your assets offline at all times. If you're not trading your assets, you keep them offline. If you are trading them, then keep them on a centralized exchange, and then you can easily, transfer money in and out. But, if they try to steal crypto, that's probably what they're trying to do. They're trying to get to centralized exchange and just hack it and steal it, and then hopefully they have an exchange that goes under. So when you hear things like this, just keep going. Don't let them scare you. All right, let's quickly look at and update everyone on Velo, Opulus, Solana. We track those assets all the time. We feel like they're going to be winners in the bull run. Velo, of course, is our darling. We love Velo. We like the fact that it is super strong in these bearish conditions, right? I don't really care if they have market makers or not. The point is that most assets, most altcoins have dropped so significantly against the Bitcoin and Ethereum and any moves in the market. So, like if you look at my watch list, everything's down at least 4 to 5%. Bella's still holding ground at 2.8% down, and on the weekly scale, it doesn't look terrible in terms of trying to push out of this range right here. Ideally we want to get up to here, right at the last high, which was at 2.78 or 2.8, and then we'll probably come down. So I'm thinking if somehow miraculously we have a pump, there will be a wick just like this to this level, and then maybe we come down and kind of correct a little bit during September. So pump like this, come down, correct, hopefully, and then we go into it October, November. Even if we drop into this range, it's not death. Okay, because again, we're still within this range, so we can kind of do this. The most important thing, like I mentioned before, we never dropped into this section right here. Like that's a killer range, because as you can see, if you drop in the lowest range possible, it'll take a while to get going. So we avoided that. We're in this section here. I think we'll do well. I think there's a lot more buyers in this section than there are here. And plus, it does help that big accounts are starting to tweet about Velo. We have really big accounts talking about them. So yeah, interest is definitely picking up, and it's going to translate eventually to a much higher valuation than it is now. And we talked about this before. Fundamentally, it's an amazing project. Like I don't even have to discuss that. Opulus. So we actually talked about Opulus a few days ago. I think even yesterday we talked about the fact that it's trying to find this bottom, right? The neckline bottom, because we have this left shoulder head and then right shoulder thing happening right now. And I think we're there. If there's any drop in Bitcoin, it's going to be interesting to see if there's any drops here, because people are at this level are actually buyers and sellers, right? They're like, oh, this is an all-time bottom. I'm there. Now, if we do have a drop and people are selling their tokens and they're thinking they're going to try to time the market, it's a possibility it drops to an efficiency and then quickly jumps back up. So you have to be ready to buy back, like watching it on a 1 minute scale or 5 minute scale, because I wouldn't recommend it. I would actually just dollar cost average at this point. So if you have an equity in Opulus, leave it there. Get some capital from other projects that you're not really interested in, and then add at this level, because it's incredible opportunity, really. I mean, let me bring up Lee's comment that he had the other day. Was it today? I retweeted it, but let me just double check where it is. So essentially what happens is Opulus is coming out with a marketplace for musicians from either their sister site, which is Ditto Music, or via a streaming service. And so they're going to be allowing artists to set up their own MFTs to allow investors to invest in their music. And I want to find the tweet. Maybe I just can't find it for whatever reason, but get to it. Yeah, it's here somewhere. You guys can probably let me know where it is. But it's nice to see that we're finally get to the stage where this is actually going to open up a lot of doors for artists. They can offer their music as an investment vehicle, and as an investor, you own the rights to the music, and if they promote the music and they sing and they perform it on live stage, I mean that's your investment essentially on the stage, and you watch it grow. So it's going to be interesting how everything comes about and the dynamic that's associated with artists trying to promote themselves through Oculus, and then Oculus gaining recognition based on that. It's a nice feedback loop, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that works. So yeah, if you're buying Oculus at this level, you're doing yourself a good service, because these charts, like I told you, can easily swing the other way. And I've been in many situations like where I've seen things drop, say 15%, then they're up 20% within an hour. And if you look, like the volume, the selling volume is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And we talked about this before, where we take the average volume line and we notice where they are in regards to that, and they're much, much under. So this is not really people selling Oculus. It's more or less trading down. So if you're a trader, you go, all right, I'm gonna try to get a better position on Oculus. So they're trying to trade down, and a lot of times, they get caught off guard where the price action jumps and they can't buy back in time, and now they're forced to pump. All right, so that's Oculus. We've gone over Velo, Oculus. Let me see. So, okay, similar chart. We see now it's starting to break down. So this fractal is going to be invalidated, and a new one's going to be formed. When is the next buy spot? It's going to be in this section right here. So we're looking at between 86 and about 120. So from here to here. Okay. Most likely it's going to meet this weekly 200 EMA at some point, maybe in the next 2 weeks. We'll see how fast the price action is. But once this breaks down, once this level doesn't hold anymore, it's going to go straight to that next level, which is about here, and then we go from there. So if you are looking for a good entry, I think it's coming. I think within a week or two, it's going to be nice. So around 84, 85 is a good start. And look over Dimitra. It's another token we track. Okay, so Dimitra regressed a lot. Unfortunately, it did not stay within this fractal here. We kind of hoped that it would, right? But timing is awful right now. So we had this crossover. Remember when I talk about the daily crossover? And now it's bearish action. It's being pushed against these EMAs every single time, which most likely is going to be, time to look at this area as a possible buyback. That means we're looking at, I don't know, say about here, which is 2 cents, or here, which is 6 cents. No, my bad. It's 0.044 cents. So that's what I would do if you're in the market for some Dimitra. Look for this level to start supporting. So this right here. Okay. And if that doesn't support, then you move one step further than that. You go down to here. Okay. That's almost 3 cents. Don't get discouraged. I know sometimes it's so easy to do that, but don't get discouraged. We've had many, many instances where we went the other way. When it looks so terrible, it went the other way. I'll give you one right now so you can get some opium. See this? See that right there? It looked terrible. Just like we talk about daily crossover. right? And everyone's like, you know what? It's going to be shit. We're going to get back down to here. And guess what? We never did. Even though September did show us bearish action, we ended up holding and then pumping. Don't get discouraged. That's my theme of the day. Don't get discouraged. All right, guys, it's been 30 minutes. Thank you again for hanging out with me every single day. Thank you again for giving me a follow on Twitter. It really helps me and our team at Dgenz push through the bear market and give you guys all the quality content that we have available. That's episode 12. And then I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.